You will know what he earns compared to the top police officer, the top person. So the entire system is going through that process. It's worse because these are security agents whom we expect to secure us, secure the country, secure this thing. Just like we need the professor to impart knowledge to be able to do this. And that's what I'm saying, that if we're asking people to sacrifice, they must see what we're doing. The countries, so the only people who are earning appropriate money, and even over more than appropriate, are we, the politicians, because of transactional politics we play. Recently, there was the issue of fighting for who is speaker, who is senate president, who is this, and you hear all sorts of things. I was forced to go and ask a friend of mine who have a contact in the United States to ask, how do they select their own people? And I can tell you, by the time I got the answers, I was so pained. How did we get here? What is all this transactional struggle all about? So for me, there's need to look at the overall remuneration of people. If we're going to sacrifice, let all of us sacrifice. And let's move this country from where it is today, where it's engulfed in process of consumption to production. That is even what will give government more money that they're looking for. You've heard that government saying, oh, we're going to increase revenue increase is what we need, blah, 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 and everything. How are you going to increase the revenue? Increase in revenue is a function of production. Today, companies are collapsing. Small businesses are dying due to increase in energy costs, increase in all sorts of things and all that. How are you going to get the revenue? Are you going to tax people who are jobless and looking for money to eat? Are you going to do so? It is all a something that is worrisome, and I keep telling people it will get worse. People will say to me, "Oh, this thing we did," I say, "No. It will get worse." So really, I agree with you. They are poorly paid, but it's same thing all over the place. We can start improving their own because they're providing security and making sure this thing. And again, they are seeing politicians sacrifice. Because if you're going to tell a policeman to follow you and it's not being well paid and everything, and if you're going to tell him to secure the place and his children are not in good school, I used to tell people that those who live with my parents, when I was in primary school, we attended, and his children and me, whose father is the boss, today, it won't be the same.
And back from the speakers, and a couple of questions after our panelists have asked all their questions from the comment sections. We cannot ask all, but we ask as many as possible. Mr. Peter is here with us. So let me come to you, Nigeria. You have the space.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Saddam. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think this has been a phenomenal space. you've made some very key revelation. And I just want to assure you, on behalf of my name is I'm well-meaning Nigerian. I'm one among many. The obedience generally we are with you in this process. You would know you won't imagine how many obedients are now lawyers but never studied law. Following this process through and through, back to back. So my question is really relating to character, competence, and capacity. But I think the real point is character. For some of us, for people that really care about the image of Nigeria as a country, we would agree that Nigeria is undergoing a very serious character assassination. I mean, we've always had that, but I don't think we've had it this bad at, we're having it at this point, we're having it at a very higher level. I mean, talking about people that we've seen visited the Aso Villa, a place that's supposed to be a reverent place. Over the past 2 months, we've seen so many people, but I think that's kind of consummates at the recently released ministerial list. I mean, it's not something to talk about too much because for some of us, we know that this is a temporary or an interim administration, so we don't try to reverence it. But I think the point of this question is, on that list, you can technically tell that most of the names, I mean, you can classify most of the names into one way or the other, but most of them falls within people that are under a reward system. But the most disturbing for someone like me, and I think a couple of people, is, we have a female nominee on that list that in 2018 had to be sacked by the Senate. In 2023, now this year, she's being investigated by the Code of Conduct Bureau. Still 2023, she's also undergoing some electoral candidate for winning wrongly. Then in 2019, was sacked again by the Supreme Court. In fact, this time the Supreme Court gave him 10 years ban from running for any political office. And to see that such people appear on a ministerial list for Nigeria, for me, it's character assassination at federal level. It's just killing the character of Nigeria. So my question really is, you've answered one part of my question when you said in 1 month you would have your list of team out. So I want to also believe that in 1 month, probably or less, you probably have all your ministers out. But I just want to ask you, what sort of character, what sort of criteria should we be looking at from the people you would be making ministers or other appointees when you eventually come to power, which we are hoping should be very soon? Thank you very much.
Well, without taking too much of your time, what I will tell you is that nobody, I've repeated it several times, with any questionable form of certificate and the other will work with me. I don't need to waste my time on that. I'm saying it categorically. If you have a question to answer with your certificate, you're out. It didn't just happen to me. Let me tell you, when I appointed commissioners in Anambra State, I'm not talking about what we started today. When I appointed commissioners in Anambra State, I told every one and each of them, make sure whatever paper you're carrying is the right paper. So I had university lecturers, had this and everything, and it was very straightforward. So we did the verification before you even go public. It was already done within a house. So I didn't wait until it went public. The appointments, I appointed human beings. Even if you had a situation that is bad, we knew. So it wasn't, and we knew that we're going to defend it before we say, yes, we're going to work with this person. But I did not, while I was campaigning, meet up to 70% of my commissioners. They are wondering, how did you appoint them? I never met my chief of staff. before. Never met her. I didn't know who she was while I was campaigning. I only read her CV. I said this woman should come in and be commissioner for information on the. Like I said, when I was a director or chairman of a bank, it will shock you. I work with people couldn't, people don't want you to even appoint anywhere. And people say to me, I want to. And I told my commission, go, because then I will learn. So don't come here and answer me, sir. No commissioner saw me to the airport if I'm traveling. The people coming to welcome people at the airport, we want to do enter Air Force One or Air Force Two. If he wants to travel, he travels. So what we want to do is to do things differently. And I assure you, I'm not saying I'm not going to appoint people from the moon. I'm going to work with Nigerians, but they would have been different Nigerians. Even in my campaign, I was telling somebody like Aisha Su, I only knew her from, I called her when we were campaigning. Someone like Ibrahim, someone like, I can go on and tell you a few other people who joined us. I never met them before, but we invited them, we excited that they joined us. And we worked with them. So that was what we're doing.
Thank
So
you.
that is what is critical. You know, that's what it was critical. And it's important that happens. When you appoint people remain the same.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It's important we know the makeup of your cabinet coming in. All right, I think right now, N6, you can come in. You can come in right now. But guys, please, we are bringing up your questions now. Thank you to our moderating speakers. Everyone have asked wonderful questions. It's been an amazing space so far. We have over 33,000 people streaming it live on YouTube. And thank you to all of you that are streaming, that provided your platforms to stream. Thank you to Ingenje TV. I just want to say this real quick. Let me use this moment and do a little bit PR and sell, please. Please permit me to sell my market, sell our wonderful market. Please, if you are a student and you love journalism and writings, do you love reporting and you are on campus? We're creating a Parallel Facts Media Campus community. You can please send us, shoot us an email at info@parallelfacts.com. Please, info@parallelfacts.com. We need young Nigerian writers. We are about to take back our country and want to do it with young, talented Nigerians. So please, we see all the politicians on the platform. I hope you guys are really taking your pen to jot things down and take it home to begin to implement real life-changing policies for Nigerians. Thank you. And if your hands are up, so I'll allow you come in right now. Then please, guys, our moderating speakers, thank you so much. I'll have to drop some of you. I'll drop you guys down and bring more people up now so we can have the last few conversations with our Excellency. Thank you very much. NC, you have the space. Good evening.
Good evening, Your Excellency. There's a question I want to ask you, and I'll need you to please listen to me so you could understand what I mean. You're a frequent traveler, and you travel with a Nigerian passport. It seems over time, the Nigerian passport has lost its relevance, its respect, both in Africa, in the West African sub-region, and overseas. Where our passport is barely improving with its accessibility to several nations. And then our passport, you land in a country, and our passport already subscribes you to certain checks. Someone as popular as David Hundeyin would go to Zimbabwe, and the Nigerian passport does not even make Zimbabwe afraid of putting him in a room alone for several hours. There is a huge disrespect and battering of the Nigerian image. And where we feel it a lot is on the Nigerian passport, especially traveling. Do you have any plans for Nigeria's image? How to launder Nigeria's image? Any plans on how to get our passport to be stronger? And just any plans on making Nigeria look better overseas? We seem to be ascribed more to negative news than to positive news. There has to be a way soft power can be used to get us looking better diplomatically overseas. Please, sir, do you have any answer for this situation?
Mr. Peter, are you there?
Hello, sir. Are you here?
It's muted. I think he has to unmute first.
Okay, you have to unmute your mic, sir.
You have to unmute, yes.
Okay. Very straight answer. If you want to earn respect anywhere in the world, whether as an individual or anything, you put your house in order first. Nobody respects you when you're going around as a beggar. Nobody respects you when your economy is in shambles. Do you know how they form G7, G20, G anything? It is based on economy. I have an Indian friend who told me that India will be, when I was campaigning, who told me that India will be hosting G20 very soon. I think it was the end of this year. I said, if you win, I will invite you as an observer. I said, I won't come. We should be members. He said, Peter, I'm shocked you said that. I said, yes. We are supposed to be members. The only way when green passport was respected was when we have something to offer. When we're a nation, when we have economy, when we're able to employ our people, when our people have means of livelihood. So for you to have a strong foreign policy, you must have a strong domestic policy. I, Peter, if I'm opportune to serve Nigeria, will tell you, as a governor, I had a diplomatic passport, but I can tell you, I did not travel on diplomatic passport. I traveled on Nigerian passport. I lived in England, had children there. They went to from primary school to secondary school. To the end, I had a stay. I go to every country of the world with green passport to have permanent residency. Even the one they said you have to have if you have a particular amount of money. But I don't have. I don't want to have. God created me in Nigeria. And I tell my children, any day you see there's war in Nigeria, I'll go back there and die. I've traveled everywhere I went in the world where there's problems. I was in Rwanda when there was problem in Rwanda. I've gone to so many parts of the world. Even when Haiti had earthquake as a governor, I went to Jonathan and pleaded to go there as a Nigerian to help them as a sitting governor. So all I'm saying is that this passport will be great. It requires us to do the right thing. To you to earn respect, you have to put your house in order. It came from a system that does not even respect David. Because the way he's treated, or the way Nigerians will be treated, if Nigeria was good, you can summon even the ambassador and said, no, we can't have this. Even when he was just a young man. I have had the same disrespect myself. I can tell you. I have had the same disrespect myself. I've traveled where I come into a country, somebody will tell you, and you're trying to tell him, say, listen, let me tell you. I cannot trust you because you're Nigerian. I said, that's the only reason. He said, yes. Recently, I went to the UK. An immigration officer asked me about my return ticket. I said, he said, well, you must show me your return ticket. I said, I don't have it. Okay, let me look at my email whether I can find it. I said, but what, why? This is the first time. He said, if you don't see it, let me tell you where you are traveling from is the problem. So I've had all sorts of things. I've gone to African countries and been treated the same way as David. You know, because David is probably an important person and a known person, and also somebody who will always fight for his rights. Somebody like me will stay quiet there and be praying that let these people solve my problem peacefully. Because even if I say not do anything, unless this sacrifice today, they cannot represent us because we failed to build a better society for.
Sir, thank you. All right, I have questions. I'll be dropping the rest of it. I'll be taking like a couple of questions from the comment section right now. I see your comments. We have over 5,300 comments. And we have over 35,000 of you. Please, for my earlier advertisement I just did, if you love journalism and you're a student, please, it's up on the Jumbotron, Empire Facts team, filled with hardworking Nigerians trying to change the journalism stratosphere of the country. Thank you. All right, let me take like 3 questions from the comment section. So back-to-back questions, really sharp. Then I'll come back to the speakers that are up here. I think please, guys, also please, we cannot ask judiciary inclined questions here. It is for a reason. He is in court, and we cannot be seen to be asking questions that has to do with anything about the judiciary. So please, it's important, and that is why we have not asked any questions that has to do with that. So please, it's important you guys understand why we are not asking that questions, please. So if you have such questions, I'm sorry, we will not be able to ask you. Sir, a question from Mature Jungle. Presence. Kudos for the great work you're doing. When can we have him on space? Mr. Peter, can you answer that, sir?
Hello?
1 minute, sir. Did you hear the question I asked you, sir?
Yeah, go on.
All right. The question from Mature Jungle, he said, please, sir, tell Baba Dati Ahmed that we are missing his presence. Kudos for the great work both of you are doing. Please, when can we have him on space? All right. Fingers crossed. Thank you very much, sir.
What?
Chini says, Your Excellency, do you have plans to reintroduce technical training schools in our educational system like we had in the old days? Our youth lack the right skills to thrive in today's workforce. For example, Dangote's refinery hiring workers from India due to lack of skills in Nigeria is saddening.
Let me tell you, that is certain. It is certain. Do you know the biggest pool of training, the biggest, and in terms of training technical people and ICT and engineers and everything in India, is Bombay Institute of Technology, which was established the same time as Yaba Technology School by British colonial masters. Today, that one have produced most of the billionaires you see in India. It become an Ivy League school that you can do anything to get admitted in or be part of it. Nobody talks about Yaba College of Tech again. Everything has failed. We need to bring them back. And that is why I said, that's why we're not earning any respect. We must bring back our country. And it requires a lot of sacrifice.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right, Blessed Emmanuel, say question, sir. Sir, what period of time will it take you to put all the seaports functioning? probably, I think, to make all the seaport functioning. One, how fast will
Well,
you tackle insecurity in all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria?
well, like I said, insecurity is number one. Security is number one job of a government. And it is critical. You can't talk about attracting investment if you're not secured. You can't talk about attracting investment if the rule of law is not respected. So there's so many things that are intangible assets that are attractive. Security, more secured. People still come out in the streets of New York for jogging. You go to the park, it's filled up in the morning with everybody jogging. People still come out in streets everywhere, in London, in parks and everything, are moving around, even when there's still shootings and this and everything. So you need security to attract investment. People must have peace of mind. It needs security. There must be rule of law. There must be some semblance of stability in your economy. So your rate of exchange can be high, but it remains stable maybe for 4 or 5 years and everything. You won't achieve 100% result overnight, but people want to see 100% effort. And what I say about seaports, what I do about the airport, up and running. Nigerians today go to Kenya to go to Dubai. They go to Ethiopia to go to Dubai. It meant everything. I won't tell you more, but I've said it before. Over $20-something billion worth of shoes, footwear. And we have over 60,000 fertile land like Niger State. Can give us all the food we need to export. If we know what we're doing, organize ourselves in 5 more, if not 3 more.
Thank you very
And all
much.
the minutes you're talking will change itself. If we have reserve of 100 billion, and if you do what is a prosperous nation, where you can, countries that have been where we are. When people talk about agitation now and talk about everything, I said to them, go and read about Brazil, Mexico, and all this thing. People were a few years ago running away from Mexico, Brazil, everywhere. There are lots of agitations in Colombia and everything. Today, those countries are changing. We can do the same thing. I've studied what they've done. I've visited them. I know what they've done. We can do the same thing.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. All right, I think I'll still go back to questions from the comment section, 1 minute each. Miss Pels, you have the space. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, everyone on this platform here today. Thank you very much, Parallel Facts, for organizing this space. Your Excellency, I'm so very glad you're here today. You gave us your word I knew that I wasn't making a mistake in supporting you. And thank you very much for being so consistent. So what I have to say here today is not a question, it's more of a comment. A fragile country like Nigeria, even across ethnic, political, and religious divides, even pre and post elections, you are the real unifier. Thank you very much, sir. So again, we all know that we won the elections, but we were rigged out, regained our mandate, and we have maintained peace and order. So this is in contrast to the outbreak of needless violence in Nigeria right after Buhari lost in 2011. We all know that there was so for your maturity, for placing your love for Nigeria above personal interest, and we are with you all through these proceedings. We love you. We will keep praying for you. And we very much know that by God's grace, we will
be peaceful. It is for the interest of the country. Is mercy at his own time to the soul. In Nigeria must come out of sacrifice as an exemplary person.
So please, in a minute, your question, please. Thank you.
Not thwarted. And I'm really appreciative of everything you have done. And I want you to know, we will build a new Nigeria together, sir. Sir, my question borders on this, sir. Sir, as I speak to you, I am an inventor, but we don't have the enabling environment for science and technology. The environment that will start the
You
things
know
I
what?
do.
You create and value it, and you become the person to be celebrated. Then it becomes something people will jump to. Banks will give out. Today, our banks don't even lend money as your mother's. The system have crowded out the real sector people that are supposed to lend money because they're lending to local government chairman because he gets statutory allocation every month. So they give him money to go and do whatever he wants. This is like you. Have Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry, Bank of Infrastructure. These are what it is in other countries. Other countries like our side.
With you today. Yeah, my question will border on security. Recently, we apprehended oil vessels have been apprehended. My question is, if you are the president, we saw them destroy two vessels without telling us the real owners of those vessels. They
I
only brought out the
I answered that question earlier. I said,
oh,
not just that so you have been stealing oil for 12 years per year. Each times, he has carried almost 100,000. Sorry, he has carried almost 100 million barrels because if he says 100, I mean it's going one trip a year, one trip with 800,000, which is like a million. So it's done 12 million barrels. Who are those involved and everything? But at the end of the day, these are issues we need to do. These are things we need to come up with. We must do things differently. I told you before, the ordinary individuals don't steal oil. It is important that we understand with government. Not you, not me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Broken. Keep to my answer. So please, birthday is next week, so you can also wish her happy birthday when she's asking a question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saddam. Good evening, Your Excellency. It's really a big honor for me to speak to you today. You are like a course that every Nigerian should study. And for me, it ties back to why they would bother around, our electoral is because of the values that you represent. Because you came up at a time when Nigerians were really unsure of what to do with themselves in terms of what to believe in and how to behave. So now that we have some actually in terms of transparency, honesty, competence, and all of that, how are we sure that they will also represent us in that same light in our national assemblies and of course across all the states? How are you making sure that we have not just one Peter Obi, but a constellation of stars, a million Peter Obis with their unique identities, also doing the right things in their various sectors? Thank you.
My leader told me that I'm heading because people believe that Labour is the new movement. But I have to respect my late leader. He told me that you don't know a man or you don't know a person until you give him money and power. If he remains the same person, then you know him. But I'm saying to you that I know what I'm going to do to get all this to work differently.